Karen called cops on my BBQ didn't know. It was a veteran charity cookout. She actually said that barbecue smoke is a form of aggression. I thought I misheard her the first time. But no, she repeated it. Loud. Twice. Into her phone. My name's Malik Jackson. I'm 38 Marine vet and backyard grill enthusiast. 3 years ago, after my last deployment, I moved to Pine Brush Estates for the peace, the quiet, and a little green space for my niece to play. I picked a fixer-upper 2 blocks from Larkspur Park, the only real open-air space in the subdivision that wasn't paved or under HOA reimagining. I kept to myself, fixed bikes for neighborhood kids, smoked ribs every Sunday, ran a monthly BBQ for local veterans out of my driveway. Nothing fancy, just connection. But somehow that was a problem, specifically for one woman, Karen Langley. Karen moved in 6 months ago with 3 lapdogs, a cargo bike, and a clipboard. Within a week, she declared herself community climate chairwoman for something called the Pine Brush Lifestyle Preservation Committee, which wasn't real. I know that now. But back then, it looked real enough. She wore vests, printed citations, had meetings with no minutes, talked in acronyms and ordinances that no one ever verified. Still, most folks didn't question it. She was loud, insistent, and polite enough to fool the HOA board, who liked having someone else handle the dirty work. I stayed out of it until the day I hosted the Grill and Give cookout in Larkspur Park. It was a clear Saturday. I brought brisket, ribs, hot dogs, and a donation box for a wounded vet I knew from Arizona. Flyers had gone out all week. I even got city park approval, in writing. I set up under the old oak tree. Kids played soccer, elders played cards, smoke wafted gently under the sun. And then Karen arrived, with a banner, folding tables, and 10 furious-looking women in matching green shirts, Pine Brush Vegan Wellness Circle. They were setting up 20 feet away, no permits, no notice, no care. Karen spotted me, clutched her pearls literally, and marched over. "You can't do this," she snapped. "It violates airspace neutrality." I blinked. What the HOA clearly prohibits combustion-based cooking near wellness events. There's no such rule. I got permission from Parks and Rec. She scoffed. "I am Parks and Rec." "No, you're not." That's when she pulled out her phone and dialed. "Yes. Hello. This is HOA Safety Director Karen Langley. I'm reporting a hostile public nuisance, open flames, meat smoke, aggressive signage." I watched her from behind my grill, tongs in one hand, bottle of sauce in the other. She was reporting barbecue like it was a terrorist act, and she didn't know my little brother was the city's parks enforcement officer. When the cops showed up, they weren't sprinting. They weren't even in a rush. 2 local officers, Figueroa and Dana, strolled into Larkspur Park with iced coffees and sunglasses, looking more like they were responding to a neighborly complaint about loud music than the emergency Karen had described. She stormed toward them like a lawyer approaching a judge. "Officers, thank God. That man," she jabbed a finger in my direction, "is deliberately endangering public health. This is a vegan sanctuary event. There are allergens in the air." Figueroa raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, it's a public park. He's smoking flesh." "Flesh? Where we're trying to practice mindfulness?" Dana stifled a sigh. "Did you file a permit for your event?" "Ma'am." Karen blinked. "I don't need one. I'm hosting a therapeutic wellness gathering under the HOA's blanket authority." I was already approaching, slow and calm. "Officers, I filed my permit last week. Copies right here." I handed them a laminated sheet from Parks and Rec, signed by, wait for it, Miles Jackson, my younger brother. Figueroa read it, then turned to Karen. "He has exclusive use of this section of the park until 6 p.m. You're free to use the open areas on the north side." Karen's eyes twitched. "But the smoke is drifting. That's passive violence." Dana cleared her throat. "Ma'am, unless there's an actual threat or unlawful behavior, there's nothing more we can do." Karen looked like she was going to pop a vessel. He laughed when I said I was sensitive to meat particles. Was it a threatening laugh? Dana asked. Deadpan? No. It was dismissive. Dana turned toward me. Sir, would you be willing to move your grill 15 feet that way? Just as a peace gesture, I shrugged. I've got no problem moving the brisket, but I won't stop feeding veterans because someone doesn't like the smell. Karen spun around. That's it. I'm calling HOA enforcement. You'll be cited under the Clean Air Adjunct Policy. And that's when Jess, my high school intern, held up her phone. Live on TikTok, y'all, she grinned. Over 3,000 watching? Karen's face dropped. That video blew up. And I mean blew up. Within 24 hours, 72,000 likes. Dozens of comments calling Karen Grillgate grandma. 2 reaction videos from vegan influencers who said she made them look bad. And 1 email from a real HOA board member. She doesn't represent us. Please don't hold her actions against the neighborhood. But Karen wasn't done. She filed an official complaint with the city. She claimed I had aggressively wielded tongs in a threatening fashion, created olfactory trauma, used charity as a cover for intimidation. I laughed so hard reading it I nearly dropped my smoker lid. But what worried me most wasn't the noise, it was the paper. The complaint wasn't just from Karen. It was stamped Pine Brush Lifestyle Preservation Authority. That was new and fake, but polished. My brother Miles looked it over. She's creating fake departmental arms, he said. That's impersonation of city authority if she's sending this to residents. Turns out she had 2 neighbors brought me letters. One read, due to your attendance at a non-HOA sanctioned event featuring meat combustion, your home is now subject to odor inspections and potential fines. Another, your property may be removed from the wellness block roster. This may affect resale value. None of it was legal, but it looked real. I had a hunch. So I called Serena Cho, the state auditor, who'd helped my friend Grace last spring when her fake HOA story exploded. Serena answered on the first ring. Tell me this is about Karen Langley. I blinked. Wait, you know her? Oh, I've had 4 prior complaints. She's a climber, moves neighborhood to neighborhood, builds fake councils, and uses wellness as a cover to push people around. Then let's stop her. Serena paused. I'm already gathering affidavits, but if you really want to shut her down, you'll need to catch her issuing a fine on camera. That's when I got an idea. A very smoky idea. 2 weeks after the TikTok clip went viral, things quieted down, but that's how predators operate. Not with a bang, but with a smirk. Karen disappeared from the park for a while. Rumors said she was reorganizing her wellness circle. I knew better. She was regrouping, rebranding, retrenching. So I got to work. With Serena's advice, I set up a reverse sting. We'd host another community cookout. Legit, public, open invite. And this time we'd film everything. We called it Grill and Give Back Heroes Edition. Ribs, corn, smoked mushrooms. We even had a vegan station, just so Karen couldn't claim meat monopoly. My friend Darnell, a Marine like me and now a double amputee, agreed to headline the event. He rolled up in his wheelchair with a cooler of sweet corn and a shirt that read, "Still served, still strong." The park was buzzing, kids laughing, dogs chasing frisbees. Miles from Parks and Rec stood nearby in his official polo, clipboard in hand, ready to shut down any of Karen's fake rules with one phone call. Serena Cho's associate, Jenna, hid in plain sight, wearing a floppy sun hat and aviator's camera embedded in her tote. And me, I was flipping burgers and keeping an eye out. I didn't have to wait long. Karen strolled in just after noon, her new vest a different shade of green, branded this time with Pine Brush Environmental Oversight Council. Her posse trailed behind with tablets and clipboards like they were inspecting nuclear reactors. She didn't speak to me, just made a beeline for Darnell, who was calmly grilling sweet corn over a small charcoal kettle. I watched her point at the grill, then at Darnell's chair, then back to the clipboard. I moved fast. By the time I got close, Karen was already mid-sentence. Technically, by burning corn husks in a non-compliant zone. You're violating Section 3.4 of the Community Clean Air Pact. She barked. Darnell raised one eyebrow. Lady, it's corn. Roasted corn releases particulates, she snapped. This is a designated green lung zone. It's a public park, I said, stepping in. And you don't have jurisdiction here. She didn't even look at me. This isn't about you, Malik. This is about ensuring Pinebrush remains safe from combustion disruption. Then she did it. She pulled a yellow paper slip from her folder and placed it on Darnell's grill lid. Citation notice. You have violated PCC Article 3.4, unauthorized smoke activity, fine $175 payable to Pinebrush Preservation Fund. Jenna was filming the entire time. I leaned forward, cool as I could. You just issued a fake citation to a disabled veteran, on camera, on public land, with a forged agency seal. Karen froze. Darnell stared at her like she'd lost her mind. The crowd went dead silent. And then the phones came out. Karen tried to backpedal. I was issuing a community courtesy note. It's just an awareness tool. Wrong, Serena said, stepping into view and flipping her badge. You're under state investigation for fraud, impersonating a municipal authority, and harassment. Karen turned pale. This is harassment against me. He was aggressively grilling, ma'am, Serena interrupted. You just issued an unlawful fine to a retired U.S. Marine on city property, and your counsel doesn't exist. But this is about wellness, about saving the planet. Serena handed her a thick envelope. Save it for court. The real kicker, Darnell lifted the grill lid and offered her a buttered ear of corn. You seem like you need this more than anyone. Karen slapped it away. And that made the front page of 3 community papers. By the next morning, Karen's house was empty. For sale sign out front. Social media accounts deleted. HOA committee site taken offline. But the best part, the city issued a public statement. There is no Pinebrush Environmental Oversight Council. All citations issued under this name are fraudulent. Please report them immediately. We thank residents like Malik Jackson and Darnell Hughes for standing up against intimidation. But that wasn't the end. We still had to clean up the fear she left behind. And that came next, the Monday after the cookout. I woke to a knock at the door. It wasn't Karen this time. It was Mrs. Kravitz, my 74-year-old neighbor from down the block. She stood on my porch holding a wrinkled yellow paper. She tried to find me too, she whispered, eyes rimmed with embarrassment. Back in April, said I was running an illegal garden bed. I paid it. I took the slip from her trembling hand. Another fake citation, different font. Same bogus Pinebrush Lifestyle Committee header. Do you have a receipt? I asked gently. She nodded, lips pressed together. I wrote her a check. The wave that hit me wasn't anger. It was shame for how long people had suffered in silence, afraid of a woman with a clipboard and a loud voice. That night, I made a decision. I went live. Let's talk about fake power. That's how the video started. I filmed it from my grill, still smeared with sauce, smoke curling into the evening sky. I talked about Karen, not just what she did to me, but to Darnell, to Mrs. Kravitz, to dozens of neighbors who'd paid fake fines, moved their trash bins in fear, or canceled events because they thought she owned the park. She didn't have power, I said into the camera. She had a printer, a vest. In our silence, I called for anyone who had received a fake citation, letter, or fee request to bring it to Larkspur Park that Saturday. I called it the HOA bonfire. By Friday, over 120 people had responded. The park was electric. People brought stacks of fake letters, photos, emailed threats. Some brought copies of checks made out to Pinebrush Preservation Fund, a bank account Serena had already frozen. One by one, and they told their stories. I stopped hanging flags on my porch. She made my grandson cry because his toy drone violated airspace. She told my daughter her wheelchair ramp disrupted the aesthetic line. It was heartbreaking and powerful. At sunset, we lit the bonfire, one by one. People tossed in the citations. Flames rose high, licking the sky as cheers echoed across the park. Serena stood beside me, her notepad full. She might be facing more charges, she said quietly. Wire fraud, unauthorized access to city records, maybe even elder financial abuse. Miles from Parks and Rec joined us, laughing. You know, there's talk of renaming this field. I blinked. What he grinned. From Larkspur Park to Jackson Square. I shook my head. Nah, too much. But part of me warmed at the thought, not the name, but what it meant we took it back. Together. The next week, the city installed a new bulletin board. It read, "Real community rules, respect your neighbors. Verify your sources. Barbecue is not a crime." Below that, no unauthorized fines, no fake HOAs, no fear. We held another grill and give, this time with city sponsorship. The mayor even flipped a burger. Darnell gave a speech. Mrs. Kravitz cut the ribbon on her now officially sanctioned garden bed, and the kids they played until sundown, unbothered by smoke or signs or self-proclaimed authorities. But the moment that stays with me happened the next morning. A woman I didn't know walked up to the gas station as I was fueling my truck. She wore a soft smile and a vegan shirt. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "For what?" "For reminding people that justice isn't about who talks the loudest. It's about who listens and acts." Then she handed me a handwritten note. "Compassion is a two-way street. Thank you for taking the first step." Summer gave way to fall, and Larkspur Park, now officially renamed Jackson Square after a 3-2 city council vote, never looked better. We kept the community cookouts going. We built a real council, nothing fancy. No fake titles, just neighbors looking out for neighbors. Darnell chaired the Veterans Outreach. May took on community health. Mrs. Kravitz was our unofficial morale officer. She brought banana bread to every meeting. And me, I just kept grilling. The flame that Karen tried to extinguish with threats and noise, it became a beacon. We started Fix-It Fridays where folks repaired bikes and fences together. No Fine Fun days where kids drew chalk murals on sidewalks once declared visual violations. Serena even helped create a pamphlet, How to Spot a Fake HOA, which we posted on community boards all over town. But let's not rewrite history. Some folks still grumbled. A few of Karen's old circle didn't vanish. They just changed tactics, now quieter, sneakier, whispering in grocery aisles, subtweeting on community Facebook pages. But something had changed. People weren't afraid anymore. And when fear dies, fake power dies with it. A few weeks later, Serena invited me to speak at a regional conference on civic fraud prevention. Me, a guy who grills ribs in his backyard. I stood in a hotel ballroom in front of city managers, HOA reps, and neighborhood organizers from across the state. I didn't use slides, didn't wear a tie, just jeans, boots, and a shirt that read, "Barbecue is not a crime." I told them about Karen, about the fake wellness councils, the phony citations, the targeted harassment masked as preservation. But mostly, I talked about silence. We all saw it, I said. We all felt it, but we kept our heads down. Because what's one letter? What's one phone call? What's one crazy neighbor in a vest? I looked them dead in the eyes. It's never just one. It's the first crack in the sidewalk that becomes a sinkhole. I got a standing ovation. Afterward, a woman from Tempe approached me. She pulled the same stunt in our community. She whispered, 3 years ago, we didn't know where she went. Thank you for ending it. Back in Pine Brush, we made one final change. We held a memorial not for Karen, but for the fear she weaponized. A patch of park was planted with wildflowers. A small sign read, "In honor of the voices that finally spoke." Community is built, not enforced. And next to it, a rusted barbecue lid mounted on a wooden post. Darnell called it the Pit of Truth. We all signed it. Karen called the police because I was grilling near her vegan meetup. She called smoke a weapon, called community her property, called silence her currency. But we didn't stay quiet. We fought back with brisket, ballots, and backbone. So here's my question to you. Have you ever let someone wear fake power to control real lives? It starts small, but it never stays small. Share your story below. Let's talk about real community, real courage, and what it takes to stop the next Karen before the smoke chokes us all.